Good evening, everybody. Belagavi is known for its cool climate, and it was supposed to be the Mahabaleshwar once upon a time. But now things have changed. The current heat wave that we are all experiencing has created a lot of problems, including depleting water in the wells, and majorly it is impacting our health. We have with us today Dr. Madhav Prabhu, cardio-diabetologist, and someone who shares his knowledge freely. Welcome, Dr. Madhav Prabhu, to All About Belgam's very special episode.
Thank you, Swati.
Beat the Heat. So, this current heat wave is making people stay indoors. They are having a lot of problems with breathing and lack of energy. People are not, especially the elders and the kids, are facing a lot of problems. What is this heat wave and how does it impact our body?
See, the human body is a fantastic machine.
Yeah.
It has a balance of water. It has a balance of electrolytes. What do you say?
Temperature control.
Thermostat is for thermostats, or rather, a thermostat correcting the electrolyte also.
Okay.
So these two things are maintained very well in the body. Okay. So the body senses the temperature and adapts to it.
Okay.
That's what the warm-blooded animals like us do.
Yeah.
Also, it's human functioning because the water is almost 40% of the body weight, and it also has different functions. For example, one is of course maintaining your blood that is there in the vascular compartment, but apart from that, it also helps to transport electrolytes and nutrients from one place to the other.
Okay.
Okay. So water is also in a way a building block of the body. Now, if it is depleted, all these mechanisms go tumbling. Okay. Also, electrolytes like sodium and potassium, unknown to us. Most of us may not be aware. Most of us think that it is only the water, but that's not true. There is sodium. That's your salt. Sodium is very vital. I mean, there are patients of hyponatremia who are completely unconscious. They are irritable.
Okay.
Potassium loss. Potassium is absolutely essential for functioning of all the muscles.
Okay.
So the weakness or the
fatigue,
bhar, sustagitri, all those things are because of potassium loss.
Okay.
Okay. So it is either the water loss or the electrolyte loss that causes all these things. But this is just a superficial way of looking at the summer season. The summer has a lot of other things attached to it, and maybe we'll go one by one.
Yes.
But the most important thing that's going on in the heat wave is that the temperature thermostat of the body goes right.
For a toss. Like,
okay.
Right.
But then the thermostat knows at what temperature it should maintain the body. It will come. How does that happen? The body starts sweating.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, sweating is nothing but a mechanism to reduce the.
Okay.
Okay. So it's just the temperature. If it crosses about 40, 42, 43, I think we are going to be susceptible to heat stroke. And that too because we are not adapted to it. We are not used to it. Like you said, we were the Mahabaleshwar of the poor.
Yes.
We are nowhere right now.
So many times it is that Goa and Mumbai temperatures are lower than that of Belgaum.
Goa and Mumbai have a breeze that come out of the ocean, and they also have a little cooling effect.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about another thing that they say that 12 to 4 is the time when we should be indoors and avoid going in the hot sun.
Yeah, especially relevant in the election time. Karyakarta, stay home.
Yeah.
But what
if
happens
you have to, then what is the care to be taken?
The thing is, the heat is at the peak, the sun is at the maximum, it's directly over you, and it starts heating you a lot. And that is a time when your temperature is going to go high.
Yeah.
Okay. Ideally, so you should stay at home if you can.
Yeah.
Not all of us can. We have to work.
Right.
But when you do that, see that you wear something which is comfortable. Now, what is comfortable? Most of the times, cotton is comfortable. You have to wear something which is very thin, and it is not sticking to your body. There has to be some space between the clothes.
Free flowing fabric, something like that.
The fabric should also be able to breathe.
Right.
And it should be light colored. If you wear that, cover your head, because basically directly impacting on your the rays impacting on your head can cause problems.
Okay.
So cover your head. That's a shade that is there.
Right.
Wear something which is very light and very light colored also, and keep yourself hydrated. I would strongly suggest that you keep some electrolytes with you also. So maybe a pocket of electrol, or a small bottle. There are so many bottles, fancy bottles available nowadays. So keep one bottle of water, say a liter of water with you, and keep an electrolyte powder with you whenever you feel dehydrated. Now you will ask me, what is the signs of dehydration? Most of us have felt it. You know, when you go in sunlight, what happens is you start feeling dryness of your mouth. You feel a little giddy. Sometimes you tend to get a little short-tempered, angry, and
Confused at times,
yeah. Or sometimes also there is, you just feel like not doing anything.
Yeah, right.
Nauseated, vomiting, sort of. You feel tired. Bhal sustak titri. These are the common complaints. This is all because of dehydration.
Okay.
So
continuously consuming water.
Shade yourself, wear something comfortable, and continuously replenish yourself. I think this should take care of the PCAS.
A lot of people feel that when they are in the hot sun or they come back, just open the fridge and take the cold water bottle and just sip it, or have cold drinks and all. Does this have an adverse impact rather?
This is like, this science and our experience not going hand in hand.
Yeah.
We also tend to go to the fridge, open the fridge, take a small glass of water or cold drink.
And directly start sipping it.
But the volume that you consume is not enough to neutralize the heat that is there in your body.
Okay.
So it's a small volume that you take.
Yeah.
In fact, recently what medicine says is that you should consume something which is lukewarm or a little warm. And the principle behind that is that if you take something warm, your body gets a signal that there's something warm coming, and it starts sweating. So when you come from outside, when it's in hot surrounding, you come home, have a hot drink, say a tea, coffee or something like that. There's a command going to your brain that you should start sweating now because it's getting hot.
Okay.
And
so
then,
that cools.
Yeah, and then the sweating starts happening, and then the body starts cooling.
Okay.
So paradoxically, when it is hot, it would be a little better to take something which is lukewarm.
Okay, rather than very chilled.
Rather than very chilled and all that.
Now, ice cream is something which is a favorite amongst everybody. So is that also something to be avoided in hot sun? Or
ice cream has a lot of sugars. Number one. Number two, it does have the same effect. Again, the small volume of cold thing that you're taking is not enough to bring down your temperature. It just feels good on the palate,
right?
But it will not have a good effect. In fact, I was just reading yesterday, if you consume spicy food, now see in India, if you go around in summers, you're having this chili powder wala sub ingredients and all that everywhere.
Right.
So that also has right now got a scientific background. When you take something spicy, again you start sweating.
Okay.
And that brings down your temperature. So your cold, summer ke jo foods hai, what we used to have, the hot ones, and they also have a similar effect of causing some sweating.
Okay.
And they bring down your body temperature. So it's all about bringing down your body temperature and staying as cool as possible when you are in the hot sunlight.
Okay. How to identify whether somebody is experiencing a heat stroke, or in fact our own selves that I am currently experiencing, and what to do in such situations?
Yeah, so when you have a heat stroke, first thing is you will observe that there is less sweating happening. Okay, when the body is hot, but there's no sweating. And second thing is you tend to get a little dizzy. See, dehydration then leads to heat stroke. So initially you will have, say, thirst. Thirst is, see, the body has got precise signals for everything. So the body starts telling you that you have to drink water.
Yeah.
So that's when you have thirst.
So that is the time when you should never stop and actually go and drink and not take too much.
Especially in the summers, don't stop your body from drinking fluids.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, there is a sort of a phase where the patient starts getting confused.
Okay.
Okay. And this is a time when there's giddiness, the patient can have a syncope. Syncope is when there is a transient loss of consciousness. So patient has syncope, he falls, and then after that, even still if you persist, then there is loss of consciousness, and then the patient can eventually go for death.
Okay.
So that is how it proceeds. You must have heard there was some rally recently in Maharashtra, and around 10 people died in that's the same thing. There's temperature. If you don't identify it early, you will go in for unconsciousness and then ultimately for death. If you identify a person like this, again, the volume of this thing required for cooling a person is more. So as much as possible, try to bring cold water to him, make him drink water, plus you can put him in some cold water.
Okay.
You can give him some ice packs.
Okay.
So you are decreasing the temperature inside as well as from outside.
Okay.
You're trying. It's basically the same thing. When you sweat, the temperature goes down. So if you have a cold towel, or if you have ice and you're going to put it on the skin surface, you're trying to bring down the temperature.
Plus, should he be given fluids?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Internally as well as externally.
Okay. Another thing is whether to exercise in summer, how much to exercise, how much of exertion can our body take during summers, whether we should change our schedules, depending on the climate.
You should. So that phase that you mentioned from 12 to 4, I think that you should not exercise. See, again, when you exercise, the body's metabolism is increasing. Okay, and when you're doing that, if you get dehydrated, you are there is a tendency to have a heat stroke earlier than normal people.
Okay.
Okay. So ideally, from morning 6 to say around 10, 11 o'clock, and then from 4 to 6 or 8. This is the ideal time for exercise or athletics and all that. Even there is a theory like, there is the circadian rhythm, and the maximum burst of energy is somewhere around 3:30 to 4.
Okay.
So that's when athletes can practice their athletics and all that. And
the noon time?
The noon time.
Okay.
Post the very hot sunlight.
Okay.
And that's the best time to exercise. But again, there are supposed to be precautions. One is wear comfortable things, the clothes, drink plenty of water, keep water with you, hydrate yourself regularly. If you take these precautions, I think you should be good enough.
Of late, we are seeing that the cases of kidney stones have also risen as the summer comes, because people tend to drink water as much as they used to during winters. Many times, especially girls or working people, they consume less water so that they don't have to visit the washroom again and again. Is this related?
See, the thing is, when we talk of kidney stones, we talk of it as a generic sort of thing, But the fact is that there are different types of kidney stones. For example, there are urate stones, then the calcium oxalate stones. Now, one type of stone is because of your less intake of water.
Okay.
The other types may be because of different reasons, like for example, there is increased the metabolism of uric acid is there that can cause urate crystals and all that. But these calcium oxalate stones can be there because of dehydration. And in a point of view of that too, it is better you hydrate yourself.
Okay.
Even if you have some small stones, say there are stones in the kidneys, sometimes in the if you drink water, if you hydrate yourself, it's like a diuretic. It will just flush the stones outside. So small stones by themselves can be flushed out if you drink a lot of water.
Okay. While we are in the shade or even early morning or late evening, we go and still people experience a lot of tanning that happens. How far are these sunscreens or lotions which are available in the market beneficial?
See, what happens is we tend to apply sunscreens and immediately go into sunlight. Okay, that's not how it has to be done. You should apply sunscreen at least 15 to 20 minutes before you go out into the open. That's one. And secondly, the sunscreen is not going to remain permanently there on your skin.
Yeah, it has to be reapplied after a few hours.
Maybe say 2-3 hours later, if you're still in sunlight, it's always better to reapply.
Okay.
And tanning is something, which is related to your skin, inherently to your skin, this thing. We
especially our Indian skin.
I mean, that's a complex that tanning nahi hona chahiye, but there is something known as melanin in your skin, and if you have exposure, it will give a little tan. I mean, you don't have to.
But then we see a lot of girls and women, they immediately start bleaching to remove the tan or use some products to. Is that safe?
I mean, I don't think that's related to our water intake, and that related to the, suppose alleged stigmas that are there in this thing that you should look fair and all. I believe everybody looks beautiful. I
would like to also ask you, what care should especially the elderly or even the pregnant woman take during this time?
So, rightly as pointed out by you, the elderly are not able to maintain their body temperature like the young ones. Okay, so see, over time, all the mechanisms in the body start deteriorating. Okay, so the thermostat, the renal functions, all these come down. And the elderly kidney is more susceptible to dehydration than a young person.
Okay.
So if a young person can sustain water loss to some extent, an elderly will immediately have renal problems. So it is imperative that we take extra care in the elderly.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, as you said, in the pregnant lady, there is a parasite growing in the womb. I mean, just technically calling it parasite because it takes
It's
everything
dependent
from the
on
mother.
the host.
It takes the nutrients, everything.
Yeah, right.
So it's just two bodies inside, bundle up in one. So it is more imperative that you maintain your fluid better, you know, because you have to look after the hydration of both the things. If you are dehydrated, there are instances where it can affect your pregnancy also. So there could be increased loss of, you know, there is something known as liquor which is around the baby in the this thing. So there could be if there is dehydration, that liquor could reduce, and then there could be other complications also.
Yeah.
So rightly pointed out, the elderly, diabetics, and the pregnant ladies should especially take care of their hydration and electrolyte balance also. So these are the people whom you should take a little extra care. Maybe not allow them to go in sunlight, wear some cotton clothes and all that, and keep water always with you, especially the elderlies. And whenever if you see the elderlies don't sweat that much also.
Right.
So you need to give them more fluids,
Okay.
provided their renal functions are normal, and take extra care in these days.
Okay. As you said at the beginning of our conversation that this is election time, it is also the time for a lot of festivals, jatras and weddings, and so many events are happening all around us, and we have food being cooked outside. We just happen to eat somewhere, drink something. So how to take care of all this?
We'll take the eating part first and the drinking part later, because jatras have different types of drinks also.
No, I mean it's really fun to be there, but then we also need to take care of our hygiene and health.
Yeah, the thing that you should understand is that you know, when you cook something and when it is very hot outside, the bacteria, they find it as a very good media for growth. Okay, so the food gets spoiled earlier. You must have observed it in the kitchen also.
Yes.
Summer season food gets spoiled early.
It gets spoiled.
That's because there is excessive bacterial growth. Also, the water that is used these days, it's the talagalatla pani. So it's the last water remaining in the this thing. So it's contaminated. Sometimes there is this drainage water that mixes into the this thing. So all this together, the water is contaminated. The food could be contaminated, or it could be readily. It's a media readily for bacteria to you know, develop.
Okay.
And this can cause food poisoning.
Okay.
So if you are seeing, I mean, for the last 1 month, I am getting a lot of cases of gastroenteritis. You must have seen patients complaining that, sir, meko loose stool ho raha hai.
Yes.
So these are happening because of the contaminated water or the contaminated food. And that's why what we suggest is that boil your water. You have to boil it properly, not just warm it, or maybe use your filters and all that. But boiling is very efficient and good. Secondly, food should be fresh, especially in this season. Maybe reduce the quantity of your cooking, but serve fresh food. And that will prevent a lot of gastrointestinal problems that are happening here.
And maybe avoid the raw food, like salads or cut fruit, especially, which is kept in the open, should be avoided.
So that also can be contaminated. Secondly, the washing part is not done properly. So maybe that can also cause. So you wash them properly, eat fresh food. That should not be any problem. Now coming to the liquid part of it, a lot of people say that, yeah, let's have a chilled beer or maybe something like that. Now, alcohol has various effects. That also you should understand. That alcohol can cause dehydration. Basically, what happens is, I mean, when you have alcohol, you must have observed some people have increased urination and all that. That's because it acts as a diuretic. So it will force the kidneys to remove water from your body. So that dehydrates you, number one. Number two is it has some form of sugar.
Okay.
So that's also going to cause dehydration.
Okay.
Number three is when you are under influence of alcohol, you are not going to take all the precautions that you need to take to prevent dehydration.
Right.
So these three-pronged things will cause problems with alcohol.
Okay.
So, I mean, some people say beer is good in this thing. See, beer has less amount of alcohol. It's around 4 to 10%, I guess. So that is okay, relatively fine.
Okay.
Gin is good, they say, but in a very moderate your alcohol. You can't have a jatra where you just keep drinking. It's more of a pious thing. Better have a pious feeling and stop or moderate your alcohol. Lessen amount of alcohol, maybe a little beer can be done in this summer.
But I was more focused on the water part, storage of waters for functions.
Uday was looking at me when I said liquid. I could see it in his eyes.
So bottled water is preferred, but not everybody has access to bottled water.
Boiled water is good enough, Swati. See, we have filters and all that, but what happens is sometimes we forget to change the candles, or the machines need to be serviced frequently.
Right.
So boiling water is a very effective and easily done thing and can be easily used.
Another misconception is that AC is not good for our skin and for our breathing. You get sore throat during summers, but some people have the habit of making it too cool. Some have the habit of, say, 24-25 degrees. What temperature is ideal, and does being in AC all the time, because we have experienced that once you come out of the AC, you sweat more than normal.
Because you are suddenly exposed to more heat.
Yeah.
The temperature regulation immediately goes
right.
But what we are more focused on is that when you are in a closed room, say air conditioned spaces are closed rooms. Okay. And when there are closed rooms and there is more possibility of spread of disease, especially diseases like COVID or influenzas, other things which are prevalent in this season.
Right.
Okay? So that is, I think, more of a issue to me than the temperature thing.
Okay.
Secondly, when you are in an air conditioned, what we tend to do is we keep our rooms open in the morning. Okay. So what happens is the heat is inside the room, it is trapped inside the room.
Right.
So the room becomes hot, and then you suddenly try to bring the temperature down. This can affect you in some way. It is, putting your body to extremes, and that can affect you maybe as a human being.
We also tend to drink less water when we are in an air conditioned.
When you are air conditioned, when you have clothes all over this thing, you tend to ignore the fact that you need to dehydrate. It is a very important point you have brought up. In fact, you should measure your water. Say around 2 liters per day should be your target for healthy individuals, and you should drink that much irrespective of what surrounding you are
Whichever season it is.
Whichever season or wherever you are and whatever you are doing. Maybe inside the AC you don't feel like drinking water. But then you have to remember that your body needs that much water in the entire
Although
day.
you're not feeling thirsty right now. Coming to the day-to-day nutrition part, how to cope with this summer with the help of food. What kind of foods are good for our health?
Good foods are ones which are freshly cooked. So I believe we have a tremendous seasonal foods that we consume in our own Belagavi or wherever. These foods are all good. Let me put it very frankly.
Fruits, vegetables,
everything is, all types of fruits are good, all types of vegetables are good. But freshly eaten. And secondly, don't foods which can cause dehydration, like excessive sugars, cold drinks, ice creams. These have more sugars. They will extract all your water and they will cause dehydration.
Okay.
So try
this is something very important.
So try to bring those foods down. Sugary foods should be less.
Artificial sugars.
Artificial sugars. Preserved food should be less taken. So that could be also a problem.
Including, say, pickles
and all that. You should lower that this thing. Otherwise, whatever curd rice we are doing, we are having ganjis, watermelon. These are all very good for health. Fluids should be more. So limbu sarbat, fresh juice, ambil, lassi, all these things are good for you, and have as much as possible.
We are also seeing a lot of rise in sore throat. And people are confused that this should happen somewhere in monsoon, but now also we are getting sore throat, people are coughing. What could be the reason for that?
There are different viral infections which are more prevalent in summer. When we think of virus now, we are thinking only of COVID. That's not true. There are a lot of other viruses that are there, and they are more in this season also. Not only sore throat, there is stomach upsets, there's gastroenteritis. They are caused by different types of viruses, and these viruses are more prevalent in summers. I can also tell you one more important thing which you should tell our all about Belgavi viewers is that dengue and malaria,
Huh.
the mosquitoes are more active in this summer season.
Summer, okay.
They take more blood and they are more feeding. So what happens is they can easily spread this disease in this season.
Okay.
So mosquito repellents and mosquito-borne diseases should also be a lookout at in this season. Apart from your viral infections which cause sore throat and gastroenteritis.
Okay.
Again, universal precautions, maybe a mosquito net, mosquito repellents,
Right.
fresh food
Yeah.
takes care of all these things.
Yeah. Apart from being such an accomplished doctor, you are also somebody who is into water conservation through Pyas Foundation. We are seeing that this year has been, very peculiar that we haven't had any pre-monsoon showers. So, what do you see the impact of this trend?
This is overall all over the world. There is global warming. See, we don't perceive it as much because it is happening very gradually.
Yeah.
Even 1 degree rise has tremendous effect on the flora and fauna of this
Right.
earth.
Right.
Okay. Now, what is happening is we are urbanizing. We are cutting down our trees. We are, in fact, if you go around Belgaum today, even mountains are being brought down by miners and all that. So there is very less capacity of the place itself to catch the monsoon, or rather to bring the clouds to precipitate and cause rains. As somebody wisely said that the forests are cut. The forests are so important to make the rains precipitate in your town. That's not happening. When we were kids, if you go around from here anywhere in 1 or 2 kilometers, you would find forests.
Yes.
Today you find only concrete jungles.
Yes.
So this has definitely impacted the world as a whole. And we need to bring a systematic change in the way we are exploiting the natural resources. That's the only way forward. If we do that, maybe we can cause a change in the scenario.
Right. So there's plenty of role for Samaritans like you for the water conservation to create a lot of awareness about health and other issues. Do we have some questions? You may definitely keep asking those questions, and I'm sure Dr. Madhav Prabhu is going to answer all of them. Is there something extra which we need to tell our viewers which we may have missed?
Yeah. I think I'll sum it up rather than missing, because you
Yes.
have quite extensively brought up all the questions. But see, summer is in fact, all the seasons are, but summer is somewhere where you have to take extra care of yourself.
Right.
Okay. It's not that it's going to be taking away your fun or anything like that, but go ahead, enjoy yourself, but take good precautions. Wear cotton clothes, wear loose clothings, wear light clothings. Always carry some water with you. Until and unless you are dehydrated, there's not going to be any problem.
Yeah.
There's one thing that we should also understand is that some people cannot consume normal amounts of waters.
Okay.
So there are people like renal disease.
Okay.
There we restrict the water to say
Intake.
1 liter
Okay.
or 1.5 liter, depending upon his condition of the kidney. There are diabetics with renal disease.
Yeah.
Okay. So these guys should know that their water cannot be as good as the normal ones.
Right.
Okay. They should take extra precautions, because even if they sweat, there is something known as insensible loss. There's sweating. When you breathe also you're losing
There's
some
moisture.
water.
Yes.
Okay, so there is going to be loss in your body, but you
Okay.
cannot replenish it if your kidney is not functioning normally.
Right.
So these guys have to take extra precautions.
Okay.
Otherwise, summers are good enough to have fun.
Right.
Hydrate yourself. Drink whatever good is available. Ganjis, lassis, juices, fresh fruits. Everything is good. Go ahead, enjoy yourself, and have a happy and healthy summer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madhav. Thank you.
Pleasure.